Wonderful. So my name is Ginny McCabe, and I am the Executive Director of the National Society of Newspaper Columnists. Yes. And we are honored to have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Roy Roberts. Hello, Roy. And the honor of this occasion is we learned that Mr. Roberts is turning 101 on February 1st. Happy early birthday. That is a wonderful news. We are all very excited to meet a columnist who has been in his craft for decades. I understand you have had your column for more than 50 years. It's called Trivia 2, and you'll tell us more about that here in just a few minutes. But we think you might be one of the oldest columnists, if not the oldest, and that is quite wonderful. And I know our audience would love to meet you and learn more about your accomplishments. So we'll just take a few minutes and tell them a little bit more as we join you in celebrating your 101st birthday. So happy birthday again. And what I'll do is I'll ask you some questions if that sounds good to you, and we'll get the conversation started that way.
All right.
Maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself. You're from Illinois, and your column is with the Cass County Star Gazette. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started writing columns.
Well, about 70 years ago, there was a new editor that came to town, and he wanted someone to write about sports, somebody that goes to every sports event. So he was asking around town, and they gave him two names. The one man was 75 years old, and the other one was myself, who I was about 35. And so anyway, my column for a long time was just sports. And then after I retired, it's been Trivia 2, which meant I could write about anything I wanted to.
Tell us about one of your columns, maybe give us an example, maybe one you're working on now, or what are some of the topics that you would cover in your columns as far as how a column might come together for you?
I don't understand that.
Well, what makes you write a column? What do you see or read or hear that makes you want to write a column?
Oh my goodness. I could send you some columns and you'd see that everything's a different subject. What's the latest? Now, the one that's gone in today is about my wife's great-grandfather who got wounded in the Civil War at the Battle of Atlanta. And so the one last week might be about something else.
I think it was about ice climbing, wasn't it?
I think it was about ice climbing. And that was about ice climbing along the Illinois River at Starved Rock. And there would be eagles flying at that time that usually are down at Beardstown. And so that's how Beardstown would be interested in that.
What usually inspires you, Dad? Like things you hear, your memories?
No, I don't know anything. So if I read something that's interesting that I think people might like, I know there's one about buffalo, about the number of buffalo and how they moved them from the national parks, one part of the country, over to Dakotas in the other part. And so now the reason I chose buffaloes is because I had written a book about the origin of Beardstown. And at that time, back in 1819, when the French explorers saw the buffaloes coming across the prairie, they were in great big bunches, and they wrote about the funny looking cows at that time. So that's why I picked buffaloes, you know.
That's great. Thank you for telling us about that. What do you consider as some of your biggest accomplishments as a columnist?
Well, many times I have wanted to quit, but many times I constantly get letters telling me that they read my column and they want me to write more. So I guess that's probably the biggest accomplishment, is pleasing people.
You get to make an impact on people's lives, maybe educate them a little bit, share some news or stories.
Yes.
Sometimes humor.
What do you feel has kept you motivated for this many years? You have been a columnist for many, many years. And I know you maybe highlighted there's maybe times when you wanted to quit, but maybe the people as one big thing that's kept you going. Can you think of other things that maybe has kept you going? Maybe you just want to share some words with people or something you've learned.
Well, I don't know, but I even get letters from people I don't even know who have found my column, and other cities that I don't even know them. And so then I keep writing more. And I got a lot of pen pals.
So you have a broad reach with your columns. They're reaching a lot of different people.
Germany, yes. You have a wide reach with your columns.
I suppose so.
Because you even send them to some of your pen pals overseas.
Yes. I have become acquainted with people in France and Germany where I was at war. And they have found out and subscribed for my books that I have written. And I've written a couple books about the war and so forth. And so they are so interested that we correspond regularly. And that's pretty nice. Never have seen them.
That is nice. What are the titles of your books?
My Christine.
Dear Christine.
Dear Christine.
Tell them what's in it. That's the letters.
She saved 152 letters that I'd written while I was in war. And she saved those letters, and they were in an old shoebox in a closet. And we found them just about 5 years ago. And at that time, my daughter says, well, they were retyping them. They says, well, people would like these. Why don't you write a book about them? So the book is about those letters, but in it, each letter reminds me what I was doing at the war. So between letters is my war experiences. So it's a kind of a war story as well as a love story.
And Thomas Beard. Thomas Beard, you wrote that book.
Oh yeah, that was, I wrote a book about Thomas Beard, the founder of Beardstown. And so this is a little history book about it, one man.
And then Grandpa, please tell me a story.
Another book I wrote for my grandchildren, but then recently we decided there was more to it than that, and it's 52 stories. Please tell us a story, Grandpa. And that book is from the time I was born until the time I walked in the blanket to go to war. So, but I still get my columns in every week.
That's wonderful. I have a lot of questions. How many grandchildren or great grandchildren do you have?
I have 20 great grandchildren, 10 grandchildren, and we're a knit family. And so our family is all together all the time.
That's great.
Yes.
Do they all live in the Beardstown area? And are you from there originally?
I am there from there originally. Yes, I am. But my kids now have spread Colorado, California, and other places.
We're just trading places. A lot of us got together this weekend.
That's wonderful. Is the letters, the book with the letters from the war, when did you serve in the military? What war were you in? And did you write those to your wife?
World War II, and I was in France and Germany. And I met my wife when we were kids, 14 and 13 years old. And so that's a long time, and we didn't get married till I was a soldier. And then, so we were only married about 8 months before I went to war. And so that was a bad time.
That was hard to be away from each other, I bet.
Yes, it was. That's the worst part about war, is leaving your loved ones.
Did you not know about the letters that she saved them until you found them a few years ago?
No, I did not know that she'd saved them all. No, that was a surprise.
That's pretty neat.
Thank you.
Do you have any idea how many letters were there? Did you write them, every day or every week, or how? Any idea how many letters there might be?
Well, it was
165.
Wow.
165 letters.
That she wrote to me. And I could not save any that she wrote to me. That I had to throw those away.
But how about your picture? Tell her how you had a camera with you all the time and you took pictures.
Oh, during the war. Yes, I was the only photographer. And so of our unit, so there are a lot of pictures that go with the book.
That's great. I look forward to reading that, and I imagine many other people would like to read that as well.
She wants to read your book, Dad.
She wants to read my book?
Yeah.
Well, I'll see that you get one.
What are one or two things you feel like you've learned over the years, and how have you applied them? How have you applied the lessons that you've learned to your writing?
The lessons I've learned. Well, I've learned to love everybody. So that's about it.
The world needs more of that these days, don't you think?
Yes. She says the world needs more love.
Yes, it does. And I'm going to be 101 in about a week.
That's great. Do you have any plans with your family to celebrate? Will you celebrate at home or have a party or anything like that?
Not much. I told them I wanted catfish, so the children will be with me.
That's great. That's quite a celebration. We'll be celebrating along with you.
Yes.
What advice would you give to other columnists and maybe young columnists today?
Oh my. Just keep their eyes and ears open and it'll fall right in place.
Thank you. Do you feel like column writing has changed over the years, and maybe the years you've been doing it, it might be a lot different now than it was, or are some things the same?
Well, I think it's about the same. I think so because I copy a lot of them. In other words, old authors give me ideas to write about. For example, I wrote a column about John Wayne. I wrote a column about who's a painter. My memory.
Rockwell? Norman Rockwell?
Norman Rockwell. My memory's a little slow now. But so I write about people, and I do a little research to make sure it's right. But then I wrote about a couple that I met here at the Blair House where we live, and they were from Italy, and it's a love story. And after I sat with them and heard their story, I made a couple columns about that. I could send you one or two columns and show you.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
What are some things that you like to do when you're not writing? We talked about your family and that you spend a lot of time with them. Do you have any other hobbies or pastimes? Or maybe things you've done with your family over the years?
I always enjoyed sports.
Sport?
But other than sports, I'm ready to leave this world.
Painting. Dad, you are an artist.
You paint?
Yes, I do paint.
You started a park district.
I
like to watch Jeopardy.
I was a park director of the town, and I started it so they have a sign in front of the park that says Roy Roberts Park. So if you ever come to Beardstown, be sure to go through the park.
Congratulations, that's a big honor as well.
Yes, it is. I've had lots of honors.
Show them this.
Wow.
This is one of his paintings, and that's the farmhouse that we grew up in the background.
Oh,
and
neat.
that's my brother and I on that sled. He did this from a photograph.
That's really nice. Thank you for sharing that. Roy, you were mentioning to me that you connect with a lot of your readers through letters. Do you feel like that connection has changed today with social media and some of the different, the internet and things like that? Or what do you think about all of the technology today and how that's impacted column writing?
It's changed a lot. There are people who don't even know how to write. They only know how to print. And so I believe it's changed. And well, I don't know any other examples, but it's not as nice.
Before we close out our time together today, is there anything else you'd like to share with other columnists, or any thing you wanted to share with us? Be sure to share with us.
No, only what I mentioned before. Columnists should be alert, pay attention, get the facts, and enjoy their job.
Be alert, pay attention, get the facts, and enjoy their job.
Yes.
That is great advice. And we have with us again today, Roy Roberts, and he's speaking to us from his home in Illinois, getting ready to celebrate his 101 first birthday on February 1st. And we want to wish you happy birthday from the National Society of Newspaper Columnists. And you are a treasured columnist. I've enjoyed my time with you today, and happy birthday.
Thank you. I enjoyed talking to you.
I enjoyed talking with you too. Thank you for being with me and just taking time out of your day to share a little bit about your great work and the many columns that you've done. Do you have any idea how many columns you've written over those many years, once a week for more than 50 years?
Yeah.
One a week.
70 years.
Times 52.
Over 300.
Wow.
No, more than that. More than that.
Over 3,000. Over 3,000.
So you've been writing columns for 70 years then?
Yes.
Wow.
Now I skipped the war years.
Yeah.
That's when he wrote letters.
But he wrote letters instead. So let's say 65
Times 50.
times 52. 3,380, Dad, would be close.
Close to 3,400.
Yeah.
Wow. That's quite an accomplishment. Well, thank you again and happy birthday. I'm going to turn the recording off now, and I'll stay with you for just a moment.
Okay, thank you. Now she wants to talk to you.